Hey, this is Nick Aldis, your favorite GM, former world champion, and friend of K100 despite being on probation. A few years ago, I started Legacy Sports Nutrition to sell high-quality supplements made in the USA to people like me and hopefully people like you. Since we launched, code K100 is the most used promo code at LegacySubs.com, which is a testament to the listeners of this show as intelligent people who care about their health and performance with bestsellers like Test X9 Testosterone Booster and our Recovery PM Sleep Aid. I use these products myself, and so does my wife, Hall of Famer Mickie James, as well as a bunch of your favorite wrestlers. Try our stuff now at LegacySubs.com. That's LegacySupps.com, and use code K100 for 10% off and to support this podcast.
Can I read something to you
Go ahead.
quick? Joe sent this to me. I don't know why, Joe, you think this is interesting, but it says AEW's new national title arrives amid separate trademark dispute with NWA over Shockwave. Now let me just
that's piggyback up the Brian Idol stuff.
all right.
Yeah, WrestleNomics.
Okay, so let me just read this, okay? AEW's new national championship title on Dynamite on Wednesday quickly caught attention, not just because it will be roughly the 12th belt, really, for the promotion, but because the title shares a name with a championship in a prior incarnation of the National Wrestling Alliance in the 1980s, as well as the current version of the NWA, Billy Corgan's. Bro, who would give this except nerds?
Right. Let me give you another thing too here, Konnan. Did you get the email? With
That question was for you, Joe.
Oh, I'm just sending you news. It doesn't mean I find it interesting. It's just in case you want to be
Don't just
informed.
send anything. That's almost like when you go, "Oh, I just did that for content."
Well,
But we've been saying lately that we need more content. And then
but something interesting, bro. This is for to be a dweeb to think this is interesting.
But maybe the listeners are dweebs, and then they'd be interested.
Let me ask you this, guys.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So Joe said another one here too, talking about like WCW retro.
25 years.
Okay, 25 years ago. Okay, Halloween Havoc 2000.
Oh, that is funny.
And so Dave basically was buried in WCW to no end. Says so. Dave wrote, "At this point, you think everyone in WCW would be putting their best foot forward to impress potential buyers, especially if that buyer ends up being the WWF and Vince becomes their new boss. But it was almost all bad matches and abysmal booking. The only bright side is that it was in Vegas and a lot of the tickets were sold to casinos for giveaways. So the show ended up being the biggest live gates WCW has had in a while, even if the crowd wasn't exactly all wrestling fans. Russo is now out of the picture, claiming post-concussion syndrome and stress, but the show was booked by guys like Ed Ferrara and Bill Banks, who are basically mini Russos who are just keeping his chair warm. So it wasn't quite the same scattershot chaos as most Russo book shows, but it's still the same lack of understanding about what makes a good wrestling show that Russo has perfected. Everyone involved were told to continue Russo's stories rather than changing direction, so everything mostly stayed the same. You know the funniest thing about this? Like this Dave's narrative, right? So he buries Vince, like constantly. He doesn't understand how to write. Bro, Vince knows how to write a show way better than Tony does. Like if you've actually seen a Vince Russo format sheet and seen one of the shows, it's like you may not like the angles and the content, but the guy knew how to write a show that was very simplistic for everybody to understand. Konnan would agree with that, correct, Konnan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So these are the matches that we're supposed to. Joe thought maybe we'd remember some of this. I remember none of this. Okay, literally. Jindrak and O'Hare against Kidman, Rio, me, and Alex in a three-way for the tag team titles.
So you were in the match and you don't even remember it.
I just remember we were working those guys. We were working the Filthy Animals and the whatchamacallits.
Yeah, the New Blood
Natural Born Thrillers, right? We did those for a couple months. We were wrestling those guys,
right?
But I can't specifically tell you on a weekly basis the progression of how that went. So I just remember we all liked working with each other. That's one thing I don't remember about this. Okay,
so listen to this real quick.
So you don't remember what happened 25 years ago is what you're saying?
I just think it's because here's the point I want to bring up.
Well, hold on. Let me give you a note that I didn't keep in the email.
Wait, time. Let me bring up my point because that didn't. Is the reason you talk about like Conrad is good at this? Okay, bro, I was not an observer reader during all this period of time. Conrad is like reading. You know, you're getting some. Bro, I was like at the shows on the road. You know, we show up to the building. We go. We watch our match. You know, we do our match. Maybe we peek through the curtain, watch maybe another match or two, whatever. But dude, the observer readers from a standpoint of knowing historically what was happening, they would know more about that than I would. Like the actual televised product of what they saw on TV, right? I knew what was going on behind the scenes.
You would probably know more than we did.
Then that's
Joe.
what I
You
would
probably know more, right? So we don't. So it's very
So
difficult.
then I would
for us,
ask you about behind the scenes if that's what you knew about. I don't care about what happened in the match.
nothing. I
You
can't
know?
really remember it any. Like I
Yeah.
can't. We worked so much back then that you can't sit there and you can maybe remember a couple specific things, but like stuff like that is like there's no way I could.
I understand that, but at the same time, Eric does it every week. JR's done it every week. Bruce, JBL, they just read it, and then they remember some things. Oh, I remember this. I remember that.
And I also would probably suggest that those guys are making a lot of stuff up too. Okay,
Yeah,
like
little
they
embellishment.
probably just remember like, hey, this probably happened this way. You can selectively remember how you would have reacted because like
Sure.
I know if I ever I know when I did like situations that I did really well, I remember, and in those situations I did really poor, I remember. It's like the stuff in between. It's like there's no way.
Get in the game with the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Bet on the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, soccer, golf, MMA, and more. Every sport, every market, right at your fingertips. Deposit instantly with PayPal, Venmo, or Apple Pay, starting at just $10. Win big and cash out fast. PayPal in 24 hours or instantly at retail sportsbooks. Available in over 20 states, FanDuel's app is your ticket to the action. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app now.
But so I guess there's another part of this.
Well, let me tell you what Dave. Wait for this opening match, Disco. Right? It's O'Hare and Jindrak versus Kidman and Ray versus you and Alex. Right? Here's Dave's note. The opening tag title three-way match was the best and really only good match on the show, due to Mysterio, Kidman, and Alex Wright.
That shows you how Dave is like, we're right, yeah. Oh my God. See, Dave didn't understand. Like Dave likes offense.
Yeah.
The guys that were doing all the cool moves, everything was, but he didn't understand the guys taking the move to make him look good are part of the match too. I was like, that's what this guy has no clue about. So
right.
But yeah, stuff like this, there's got to be. This is not even a controversy. Like what about this show? Just because here's why you submitted this, Joe. You submitted this because Meltzer says that this is possibly the worst pay-per-view of the year.
Right, and all the ones that got.
How would I dude? That's like I don't remember. I don't even remember this. Like I can't. Konnan, how many pay-per-views can you remember in 2000?
I don't know. You'd have to specifically talk about
exactly.
it.
But it's all about how you format the discussion and all that, because I guarantee you Halloween Havoc 2000, Eric and Conrad probably did 2 hours on it, and that's probably not easy.
I would find this hard to believe they did 2 hours on this.
But
I don't know how they could.
I'll get it for you. Let me see.
Jarrett defeated Sting. Booker T defeated Scott Steiner. Goldberg defeated Bryan Adams and Brian Clark in a handicap tag match. Mike Awesome defeated Vampiro. Like those top stories right there. Like Goldberg was beating everybody back then. I'll tell you that. I would tell you this: Bryan Adams and Brian Clark did not like getting beat in a handicap match to Goldberg.
Yeah, no.
That was Johnny Ace booking Goldberg. I'm almost positive that was Johnny Ace was on the booking committee because like when he was he was on the committee there. He was trying to push Goldberg to the moon at the expense of like Bryan Adams and Brian Clark, who were over.
Right.
They should have been right. They should not have been. They should not have been that spot. Yeah,
didn't make no sense to me. And
Booker T and Steiner were actually working a program with each other for a while.
Yeah.
Could you put it up again, Joe? Oh no, I was reading it from the. Okay, here it is. So 1 month after the Australia incident, Hoovy was working Puerto Rico and trying to get hired by WWE. Well, of course, who was not interested? Of course, they wouldn't. The guy just, got deported and speared a cop and all that and was nude. Yeah, I don't remember this. Sabu and Paul Heyman were scheduled to go to court over contract issues. You'd probably be a better person than us.
Right, but what I would have done there is, did you guys know Sabu was going to come in because he was planned to be there? He was backstage and he got pulled. You don't remember him being backstage?
No, we don't remember none of that.
Yeah.
And Nitro took place in front of 1,454 fans with 768 paid in Irvine, California. Nash was on commentary and the crowd kept chanting for Scott Hall. Nash had been told not to mention him anymore for doing it too much during promos. I don't remember that.
And then what he would do is when they chanted, "We want Hall," he would say to the commentators, "Hey, what are they chanting?" Like he was still needling them, but they couldn't say anything. Yeah.
Right. That's classic Nash.
What, Joe? Where did you get this copy paste this from? Because at the bottom, I think this is funny. It says match ratings listed above are from Dave Meltzer's highly respected Wrestling Observer newsletter.
I think it was Pro Wrestling Database.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then here the only interesting thing here. Well, let me one more. On the Thunder taping, Norman Smiley and Lance Storm allegedly had a match so bad that Lance went on his website afterwards apologizing to fans. I do not remember this.
I don't. Let me go. Do you remember this? Nitro. I don't remember that. I don't remember this. Oh, actually, I do remember this. Nitro took place in front of 1,454 fans with 768 paid in Irvine, California. I kind of vaguely remember it was a very weird building that we ran in. It was almost like a high school gymnasium kind of like look. I thought because it was in Irvine and it was like it wasn't like anything like stood out like a nice building or anything. I think it was like a minor league hockey team played there. I'm almost positive about that. Like it was a very small building, but I'm like we're running. We had 700. We only had 768 paid for a Nitro. After years of 2 years where the show was one of the hottest things on TV.
Yeah,
that's go ahead.
So after everything I just read, which I don't remember really anything except maybe the Hoovy thing,
right?
What did catch my eye, which I don't remember either, was Buff Bagwell. It says he ripped on Vince Russo for the way he booked himself along with guys like Luger and DDP, and basically just how awful Russo's booking is. He also complained about WCW finding people for showing up late. He complained about not getting a big raise like everyone else got back in 1998 because he was out with a neck injury when Bischoff was giving raises, and complained about being underpaid compared to all the other A talent like himself. Talked about how screwed up WCW is, saying Lex Luger is getting paid $1.3 million a year to do jobs for Hugh Morris. He goes, "Are you kidding me? Hugh is a great guy and all that, but he's not a talent. I love him to death, but he's never going to draw a dime. We're talking about drawing money, and he's never going to draw a dime. And Luger's putting him over at house shows. Nothing is adding up. I know for a fact that if they try to get me the job for David Flair at Havoc, I'm going to walk out the door. I'm not doing it." In response to all of this, WCW put Hugh Morris over big on Nitro while they had Bagwell job the Luger in 2 minutes on the same show. That's tremendous.
I don't remember that, but
Neither did, but that's tremendous.
But the funny thing in retrospect is while Buff was cutting this skating promo, he was enduring a substance abuse problem.
Right.
Like Buff, Buff was like the funny thing is like okay, Konnan. The funny thing is like he complained about finding people for showing up late.
Right.
Because he would always show up late.
Right.
Because him and Lex would be in the car.
But put that thumbprint, put the thumbprint in the reader.
That's hysterical, I
remember one time we had a meeting with Bischoff, like a company meeting,
right?
And he goes, "How come I'm always getting tested?" And Bischoff goes, "Have you looked at yourself?" That's tremendous. Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.